And hello, everyone. Well, again, I guess if you're on YouTube again, uh, yes, Janine. Yeah, I connected earlier and I got to through YouTube, and then I was about to start Facebook, and the OBS, the software I use to connect and stream, crashed on me. Always fun. So I had to reset everything up and come back on. But I think we're good now. So I think we're okay. So thanks for hanging in there from on YouTube, but Facebook, I was just a little late, so we're okay. But hey, and hey Jan and Sarit and Kathy and Andrea and yeah, Dan and Nancy. Wow, yes. Whew, never boring, never boring at all. Oh yeah. So yes, I just came from a rain weekend at Sherwood Forest Fair, and we'd had such good weekends before. It was definitely different. We had a little over 7,000 people on Saturday, which for a rain day is actually still not bad. It shows you how far Sherwood has come when it comes to attendance. We've had some 17,000 plus attendance days so far this season, so it's been interesting. So 7,000 plus on Saturday, and a little over 9,000 on Sunday, which I don't know. Easter weekend is always a strange one at Sherwood. It's kind of interesting. They don't, uh, I don't know. Usually you get a good crowd on a Sunday, but Easter people tend to stay home and do a family thing. And I get that. And it's grown steadily over the years, but it's not usually the most well attended Sundays. It's kind of interesting. Couple that with the rain weekend, still a pretty good crowd. And the people that were there really wanted to be there. So especially Sunday had a great crowd who were really into it. That makes everything better. It always makes the difference. And yeah, Jan, you're right, just a little damp. That's kind of how it was on a Saturday. Sunday, it drizzled for a little bit in there, but that was it. It really wasn't a bad day at all. And both days were a lot cooler than it had been. And it's rare to get cool days in April. At least down here in Texas, it is. So yes, that was very nice. Always appreciated, and it was a good weekend. Really, no complaints. Uh, yeah, yeah, Janine, that's totally right. The whole yeah, you get that sort of. It's not just those are the two holidays people tend to go. So there is that aspect, but they also tend to stay home. I know the weird thing about Christmas and Easter, I think, is families stay home. They don't tend to go out too much on those days. It's an interesting phenomenon, but hey, it is what it is, and you roll with it. But it's still a good weekend. I also did the first weekend of the 2 weekend run with my old bandmate Mark Gunn with the Brobdinagi and Bards, so I got to do that reunion show. And boy, it was interesting on Saturday because that was about the heaviest rain downpour was during our show, of course, because that's how it works. Yeah, so we did that, but it was there were people there who were had the rain ponchos on who set through. So thank you. And it was a decent show, especially in spite of the rain. I'm happy how it turned out. And then Sunday, I thought the show went very well. So, oh, thank you for saying that, Jen. And yeah, I think they went well. I definitely it's a good step, and we still have one more weekend to go of it, so that's always fun. See how that goes. Uh, it is sort of a weird special treat because other than the shows we do at Dragon Con, that's pretty much the only yeah, those are the only shows we really play together. So it's kind of different, and definitely strange because some of these songs, you don't play for 6 months and then boom, you got to jump right back in and play it again. So definitely a challenge. Yeah. Gotta get that memory going. You know how it is. So but if you're interested in it, and I know that a lot of you can't come to Sherwood, of course, but we are doing a reunion live stream show this Wednesday, so the day after tomorrow, on YouTube. So if you'd like to check that out, you can find the link on my website, my new improved website, theirishbard.com. So yeah, on my event list, you can click on the link and it'll take you to it. It's a donation show. So I mean, if you need to, hey, just watch it for free. But if you can donate, just feel free. We'd appreciate it. But that's essentially how the show goes. It no problem. And do check it out. I think it'll be fun. And it'll be probably for about around an hour, starting at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday evening. So feel free to check that out. That should be different. And yeah, speaking of my website, I guess, yeah, I should jump over to that, shouldn't I? Because website has it's live, and I think thanks to all of y'all, I mean, a few weeks ago, you gave me some good feedback on how the website was going and a few bugs that you saw, and I think I fixed that. The main thing being the somebody said that it was there was a time issue where in my event list where it was listing the wrong day. And I checked the JavaScript and I realized JavaScript is still not my forte. So I checked it and realized because of the way the date parameter worked, it converts it to UTC time, and it in case you want to convert it over to everybody's local time so they know what time it is for them. That's the purpose, but I was using it wrong essentially. I should have just used it as a variable and called it a day, but I was going with, because it was a date, I used that that function, and it was not the right move. So I fixed it, and I think everything's working there, and it is it is okay. Good, Danny. I know you were the one who first mentioned that, I think. Okay, so yeah, thank you. That should be good. I mean, there's no conversion, so I'd be surprised if it didn't. They're just variables at this point. So shouldn't be a problem. It also runs, if you remember how fast it ran last time, it should run even faster. I tweaked it a bit more, and on Google Lightspeed, it's on the desktop feature. It showed all hundreds, so perfect score. The mobile version, it was like hundreds, except for performance. It gave me like a 98, which is still very good for mobile because they're testing it at like a 3G speed on your cell phone kind of concept. And so it still runs very well on mobile. I'm going to try to tweak it a little more, maybe, but just strictly for mobile to see if I can up that score. But it's fine right now. I mean, that's going to be something I go after over the next few weeks, a little here, a little there, when I have a chance to just look at it. I also got some other feedback from other people, and they said that it was one thing they suggested was I put a couple more videos. They mentioned audio and having some audio samples, and on the main page you can go to Buy My Music and go to Bandcamp, and you can listen to audio files there. So I wasn't really worried about that, but they said the video file, I have Bogged Down in the Valley, me doing that, and while that's good, the comment I got from, well, Gypsy mentioned this, and I think she was totally right, was that I do other stuff. And while that's a great version, I should show a few more things to be more representative of what I do. And since that section is mainly for booking and as a press kit, I think she has a really good point. I'd thought about that a little bit, but I was on the fence. But I think she kind of pushed me over the edge on that. So I'm probably going to add a couple more videos, but that's really easy to do at this point. So no problem there. But yeah, if actually, I think, yeah, let me see. I can put this up. Yeah, if you're wanting the address, there it is. If you want to check it out, and I would appreciate any feedback you have. If you have any thoughts, things you think I should add, things that don't work for you, bugs, issues, because I'm pretty much locked this in right now. I'm kind of thinking it's done. I might add a few more features, but right now, the only thing I'm kind of thinking of is adding a few more accessibility options, really, just for like the blind and things like that. If they're accessing the website, I have the basics stuff set, but I could do a little better. So I'm looking into that. But just trying to get the website about as perfect as I can. And I know it probably comes across like I'm obsessing. Okay, you're not wrong. I am. But there's a reason why, because I do this once every 10 years or so. The last web page I had was from about 10 years ago, and I got it working, and then I didn't really mess with it for 10 years. And I expect that to happen again. Once I'm locked this in, I'll update my events and shows and things I'm doing, but otherwise, I'm probably not going to mess with it for 10 years. So I want it to be future proof. I want it to be as solid and stable as possible because I'm probably not going to have time to mess with it later. So that's one of the things I've been working on. And yeah, any suggestions or advice or criticisms. I mean, hey, I don't like yes men. I feel free to rip me a new one if you think some things need to be seriously changed. I will totally listen and see. Yeah, I mean, why not? It's certainly. I haven't thought of everything. Boy, I wish, but no, I haven't. So if you have anything, feel free. I would love to hear. I've been kind of trying to tweak this on and off and think about this here and there for the last couple of years, really, and just occasionally adding little thoughts or concepts. And over the last few weeks, I've really just brought it home. So yeah, let me know. I appreciate it. Other than that, I've also started really jumping in and working hard on my Patreon page because I kind of let that be neglected a bit. I'm not talking about the Life's a Faire Patreon page, although I am going to be more active on that as well. But I'm talking about my personal one, my personal Patreon, and I am really going to be posting a few times a week from now on and been there and doing things, treating it like sort of like a live journal kind of concept, as well as updates and newsletters and projects I'm working on. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. So feel free to check that out as well. That should be interesting. And then yeah, let's see. Only other thing really is I've been kind of thinking about one of the things I've been getting comments on at Faire that has really meant a lot to me, and I'll go ahead and get out of this right now. Here we go. Is that the feedback I've been getting from patrons at Faire this year, especially, has been how much they've appreciated my show, that it's not scripted, that I actually talk directly to the audience and engage with them, and what they say affects how the show goes, and that it seems very organic, and they really appreciate that. Some people have commented about how difficult that seems, and how astounded they are that I can pull that off. And I don't know. I mean, I don't really look at it that way. I mean, I think having a scripted show would be more difficult for me because I'd get bored way too quick. But everybody's different, and it really started to get me thinking about, well, is one better than the other? And I don't know. I mean, what do you think? If a lot of you have gone to Ren fairs before. Do you like the scripted shows where it's the same show every time, but the jokes are still good and it's very polished, and you pretty much, if you've seen it a few times, you know what's coming, but you get to say the phrases with them, and the repetition is what makes it interactive. I mean, is that something that you prefer? Or do you like more of an improv style approach to a show where every show is different every time, but as a result, it's not quite as polished? It has, a decent look. I mean, it works well, but might not be perfect. So which one do you prefer? I mean, do you have a preference at all? Maybe do you like them both for different reasons? Uh, I, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, of course, you're like you're very creative and a good writer, and and very good at improv. So that doesn't surprise me that you would think that way too. So that works, right? And that's kind of been my attitude as well. Now I'm very biased, so I don't know if I'm the right person to ask. Uh, right, right. It does give you the option. I mean, if there are tech issues or problems, you can immediately pivot, and you're used to pivoting. So it's not as much of a stress sandwich when things go wrong. That is very true. Okay, scripted or semi unscripted. Okay. And that's fair because I can't say everything I do is totally unscripted. I have little intros that I talk about each song that, well, I don't say them the exact same way every time. It's not a rehearsed speech. A lot of the things I say are fairly consistent. When I do a song, but I don't always do the same intro. I don't always do it the same way. I always try to come up with different ways to do it, but sometimes it is fairly similar for that intro. But yeah, I mean, so semi unscripted is probably a little more fair for me, honestly. And I think you're totally right, Kevin. That is very, you're not wrong. It is surprising how many performers at Faire have anxiety issues, serious insecurity, yeah, I mean, are very shy introverts. It's astonishing. It was always astonishing to me. Because you see them and they're always so gregarious and outgoing. You think that they're these over the top personalities. Not always. A lot of the time, they're putting on a character. Um, so some are definitely better at doing that. I think I could do it, but I don't. I wouldn't have as much fun. I definitely agree. I definitely think that. Mm. Right, right. I think more input or participation. That's kind of what I like too. I like when I first started doing shows solo anyway. It was a struggle because I was so used to being in a duo, and I'd done that for 10 years. That's how I started, and I was used to that dynamic. So being solo and not having anybody to bounce anything off of for the first year or so, it was a struggle. And then I kind of hit on the idea of pretending the audience was my bandmate. So I just did the instinctive thing and started talking to them like I used to talk to my old bandmate Mark. And once I hit on that, it suddenly everything got easy, and it worked. It was, I mean, it's not a one for one because you can't quite say the same thing or do the same thing, but the approach worked, and I liked that. I thought that was a surprisingly easy technique and a way to adjust and pivot on the fly. You're right. Some do. You'd be surprised how much of that is scripted as well. They'll have different intros and they'll have them all written out and memorized. Not always, but it happens more than you probably think. No, no, not Sunday. Actually, I didn't get soaked at all. My my cloak. Let me tell you, I Scotch guarded the heck out of it, and I'm so happy I did. I did a great job with that in the off season, and so far this season, I hadn't had to worry about it for rain really at all. And this is the first time I got to really use it. And boy, it worked like a charm. The water just beaded on top of it, and I was pretty dry the entire day, even on Saturday. Sunday it didn't really rain, so that wasn't a problem. Yeah, I think that's a good strategy. I try to have a few set lists ready just in case. And I always have that in front of me where if I am totally brain dead, I can just follow the song list and do that without having to think. It doesn't happen very much, but it has happened a couple of times this year where I was like, okay, we're just doing this. We're playing. Uh, right, right. Totally agree. Okay. Yeah, yeah, that happens where you'll research the area and have a little try to make that connection with the audience and talk about it. Talk about some of the local places that you ate or visited or something like that. That is a common approach. I don't know. For me, I've always been I'm biased. I will just admit it. I've always, I've never really liked canned shows. I call them canned, and even that's a bad way to put it. It's a huge bias, and I shouldn't say that. Scripted shows is what I should say, because for me, it's the same thing every time. And I always make the joke about Dead Bob because uh, his show was the exact same for years. And it got to the point where I could quote it, and it was, oh, it got a little agonizing. I mean, if you just go to one or two of them a season, and then you go to the fair as a patron, and you go next year and you see it again, enough time lapses. But weekend after weekend after weekend of seeing it, if you're at the same stage or if you're near that stage and you hear it all the time, it gets to be agonizing, agonizingly repetitive. I can't imagine how those actors did that without going insane. I'm just saying, maybe they did. That would explain a little. You're right, and that is the goal. I think with a lot of them, they try to make it seem very seamless, where it just is. It comes across as natural. That is an approach. Others go the opposite way and go the full used car salesman routine, where they're over the top, and they full Barnum and Bailey. They just go at it like they're talking out, and that's an approach too. It's, but yeah, it is scripted.